Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Maggie, the Incubation and Ecosystem Lead at the Mills Fabrica, and I'm the facilitator for today. And welcome to the Rethink Packaging webinar co-organized by us, the Mills Fabrica, and WGSN. And for those of you who are new to our community, we would like to share a brief background about us. The Mills Fabrica is the innovation arm of the Mills, a revitalization project by the Naphun Group, which is a Hong Kong-based real estate developer. And for us, the Mills Fabrica, we are a go-to solutions platform accelerating textile and agri-food tech innovations for sustainability and social impact. And now, lastly, we'll move on to our second panel discussion about minimizing packaging impact through eco-conscious product design. And may we now invite Celia, Associate Director and Product Development of Green Monday, Cyril, founder of Addless Design Studio, and Yianni, Trend Specialist from WGSN. I'll pass it over to our moderator, Angus.
Thank you, Maggie. So in this second panel, we will discuss how we can make use of product design or packaging design to help us reduce the impact. This should be a way that everyone can do from now on. Perhaps I can start with Yianni, who is actually the voice behind the video we just see, to give us a self-introduction.
Thanks, Angus, and thank you for joining me. Really lovely to be here, and I think it's such an important conversation to be having around materials in general, sustainability, the environment, and how we can improve our processes. So my name is Yianni. I am a trend specialist at WGSN, and WGSN is the global authority on trend research and disseminating information via our platforms around fashion, interiors, the beauty industry, consumer insights, as well as strategy and technology, packaging, etc. So my role is to help our clients who subscribe to really utilize that content and, help them with their strategies and to think ahead of what's coming and how they might tackle that.
Thank you. And then Celia from Green Monday.
Yes, hi everyone. So this is Celia from Green Monday. I'm the Associate Director for Product Development here in Hong Kong. Mostly responsible for working on the Omni products and also the Green Common products. So as many of you might know, Green Monday, we are a mission-driven company focusing on educating the community about following a plant-based lifestyle. So that's why we develop a lot of good products that are totally plant-based. And because with the intention to reduce overall carbon emission and to protect the environment, we think we are at a very important position to bring innovation and also to be a leader in the industry to show that sustainable food packaging can be actually commercialized. And I'm really happy to have Cyril to be our consultant, because it is very hard at the beginning to develop packaging that is suitable for food products. Extremely challenging because of the shelf life and also the food safety standards. So it's very good to have people like Sonali, Yianni, and also Cyril to support different companies to achieve the sustainability goals.
Thank you. And then we also have Cyril.
Thanks, Angus, and thank you, Celia, for your kind words. So good morning, everyone. My name is Cyril Drouet, and I'm the founder and creative director at Addless Design Studio. So we're a packaging design studio located in Hong Kong, focusing exclusively on eco-responsible and plastic-free packaging design. So as a design studio and most traditional design studio, our services range from branding, graphic design, packaging structure, but where we differ is that we go a lot deeper by offering sustainable material insights. We work in cooperation with Sonali at sourcepackaging.com. We find plastic alternative and also recommendation to trusted manufacturer and partners. And we work with global clients such as P&G, Unilever, Nivea, as well as local food companies such as Green Monday, where today we will share with Celia 2 case studies.
Thank you. I know that today Cyril and Celia have prepared some case studies for us, as you guys have both had first-hand experience in coming up with a packaging design for a better environment. Let's share screen from our side now, and please feel free to share with us your past experience regarding the Omni Eve and later on the mooncake box, as I know. Thank you.
Yeah, so I can go on first with the Omni Foods introduction of the ready meals at a convenience store 7-Eleven. So we are very happy to have convenience store offering plant-based options because it is the places where most of us can find food very conveniently. So we can just show to the next slide everyone that most of the meals right now available in Hong Kong, they're usually packed in plastic trays. Although most of the plastic trays used by the manufacturer, they can be recycled, but again, the recyclability issues and another topic that we need to further explore, the recyclable rate is low in Hong Kong. So when we first developed our ready meals products to fit for this target group, we wanted to introduce the packaging that is more eco-friendly. So for the first version, it is not completely plastic free, even though for this version, the latest version, it is still not 100% plastic free because of the challenges that we face, but we try to improve as the time goes by. The first version, we use paper trays instead of a plastic tray. So, but still this paper tray is laminated with a thin layer of plastic so that it offers a grease-proof properties. But later on, when we evolve, we're very happy to partner with Cyril and many of the good companies in China. So we bring the compostable tray, which is a fully home compostable and biodegradable, also certified in Australia and EU about their home compostability, to bring this tray into the 7-Eleven as a complement to our plant-based meals offering. So the right photos just shows the compostable trays that we are using right now. So we can move to this next slide, showing the tray is made with bagasse. It is very durable and also a very good materials to hold frozen foods. And this tray can also withstand a temperature change because when the meal were first shipped to 7-Eleven, they were shipped under frozen condition, but when they are displayed in shelf, they will be displayed under a chilled environment. So there is a temperature change during the shipment and the display. And the design of the tray is meant to, of course, to withstand this temperature change and also to be able to have a flat sealing edge so that the tray can be top seal and can be reheated using the microwave oven at 7-Eleven in just 3 to 4 minutes. So the next slide. Yes, this shows our collaboration with 7-Eleven earlier last year. It is about a range of frozen meals and of course another addition range of plant-based products available there. And the next slide, yes. And here shows the compostability of the tray. So under normal circumstances, the tray will be completely decomposed or degraded in around 300 days, depending on the humidity and the temperature. So this is actually a test done by our colleagues in her little garden. So in day 0, we put the tray in the back garden, and then in day 90s, we can only find small pieces of fragments of the trays remain. Yeah, so passing on to Cyril to show the mooncake box projects to our audience.
Yeah, thanks, Celia. So last year, Celia and the team and David, you guys challenging us to kind of revisit your previous mooncake box, which is on the next slide. Thank you. So before we jump to any design phase, we always look at what we can observe from a current box. So if you look at traditional mooncake box, they typically oversized and overpacked. I mean, you can see here the size of a mooncake is really small, and these boxes are huge in stores. So we try, to question why. Also, every single mooncake is held by a plastic tray that is thermoformed and then wrapped, with a plastic film. So we also question that. The outer boxes are generally laminated also with plastic film in order to protect the print and the ink. But what we really want to do is, in terms of building a story, I mean, last year we have all been refrained by the pandemic from social activities, and we all many stayed home. So our target really for this redesign was to take this mooncake box outdoor and maintain a positive relationship with the environment while taking into account the social implication of sharing a box. And finally, we wanted to link this vegan mooncake and the eco-friendly packaging through a mission to be ecological and through the celebration to the Moon Festival. So on the next slide, we produce, as you can see, we produce an extremely compact, completely fiber-based box, eliminating really the unnecessary wasteful of typical oversized traditional mooncake box, while using FSC certified paper and also production method. On the next slide, please. Yes, so in place of plastic, we use bagasse material for the tray, which is made from the sugarcane waste processing, which is 100% recyclable in the paper stream and also compostable and biodegradable. So the ink we use is made out of soil and is completely solvent-free. So we always try to elevate the consumer experience, and here in this case, the packaging experience further, by allowing the opening flag to pivot underneath the box, forming the leg of a picnic table. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So we try to provide a deeply satisfying, memorable, and shareable opening process without, traditional magnets on boxes, because most rigid box come with magnet closure, and magnet is metal, it cannot be recycled. So we avoided it. And what we saw also from social media and from colleagues is that consumer took this box even to another level by upcycling this box and use this box when empty as a desk where they would store their pen, they would store their things. I mean, Celia, you're the great example of that. I think, I'm not even sure if you still have the box on your desk, but we can see that actually the people that bought this box really played the game and are really eco-conscious, responsible consumers. So as a design studio, we're really proud, to share together with Green Common the mission to really encourage sustainable and healthy living. And that's it. You guys asked us to do a 5-minute presentation. I think we nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yianni, do you have any observation regarding the trends in packaging design or innovation you can add on, apart from the first-hand examples that just shared by Cyril and Celia just now?
Sure. And yeah, look, I just want to make a point there of saying as well how I love the cleverness of being able to use the packaging in a multitude of different ways. We at WGSN have written reports about keepsake packaging quite a bit, and the idea of using materials that can withstand a test of time and actually be reused for different purposes. So I think, that's one quick and easy way to be able to maintain packaging over time. But another one is also the idea of paper, I think, is a really important material when it comes to packaging. We've seen everything from alcohol brands like Johnny Walker, for example, to wine paper bottles, as well as fashion bags and packaging that are all leaning towards paper as a material that is obviously, something that is much easier to use in some cases. So Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities there. And similarly, you know, some of the earlier speakers mentioned the idea of algae as material options. And especially now we're also seeing a lot of edible packaging emerging on the market. So I think that's pretty exciting as well, and a bit of a novelty. And then, of course, from a technological point of view, you have RFID, which is radio frequency identification, sort of scanning, which is very contactless and efficient, especially in today's market post-pandemic, where people can sort of scan and be told information about their product, where it comes from, the journey of it, the make, the materials, etc. Yeah.
Thank you. One final question for you all, and we can have more time for the audience to ask questions. Also the same question, as we see the new regulations targeting plastic pollution lately, what do you expect to see in the field of packaging in the future?
I think definitely there is a trend of reducing plastic, but I also think that people should be educated about the source of packaging as well. As Sonali mentioned earlier in the seminar, so plastic is artificially cheap right now. So in order to have a more sustainable packaging materials used in the new products, I think people should expect paying a bit higher for the ordinary conventional products, because the extra few bucks that you are paying are actually showing a gratitude for all the research work and also the material innovation work that has been done by the researchers or materials provider. They spend a lot of efforts in innovating the materials, making sure that they can be used in food packaging. So even though you would need to pay a little bit higher than the conventional products using plastic, I think it's definitely worth it. And I think everyone have the responsibility to make a vote by choosing the type of products that you are going to buy. So just make your choice by voting, what you are going after support.
Yeah, you're right, Celia, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, your company, Green Monday, has really made the effort to open their budget to more expensive materials than plastic. And it's always the challenge for brands. I mean, we talk to many brands. Some are willing to pay 2 to 3 times more what they pay currently for the packaging material. And some just simply refuse to, even if they have the budget. So it's great to work with companies like Green Monday, like P&G, that really allocate budget to that. Sonali and also all the panelists have addressed some really good debate around the plastic. I think what is important to consider is that there's so much hatred around plastic, and it's really legitimate. And we see a lot of brands now switching from plastic to fiber-based material, so paper or sugarcane fiber. And this creates a huge pressure on natural sources like wood globally. If you look at paper mills or paperboard mills, I mean, they order book are full for the next 2 years, which never happened in the history of paper. So what does it say is that we are actually using more and more natural resource to fight plastic. And is it really sustainable? This is something that we need to ask ourselves. There's a lot of alternatives. I mean, we've seen you guys talk about algae and also mushroom. Algae is definitely one of the most promising, in my opinion, because it's a waste from the ocean. I mean, it's a huge pollution in many countries. And people, I mean, with Sonali, we spoke to many founders, like Flexi, for example, in the UK, where, they develop algae and it's really sustainable to work with this material. What we see also, in my opinion, is the future has to be made from waste. The material needs to be made from waste. We've seen the growth of sugarcane agri-waste made to bagasse trays, but also sugarcane papers now. Sonali touched on PHA using virgin material, but now we see PHA made from waste material. So in my opinion, the future has to be from waste. to be truly circular, because we dig in way too much into virgin material on our planet, and that will not last forever.
Just to add to that as well, Cyril, if I may, I just wanted to say, it's not always, you mentioned resources and the fact that, resources are stripped every time we try to come up with alternative solutions. But I think something to think about as well is the idea of regenerative agriculture practices. So when it comes to actually using natural materials and resources, how are those materials being generated? How are they being looked after? Are we injecting back into the practices of maintaining them and so on? There's a number of companies out there working with farmers to have, sustainable practices and ensure that it's all across the board. And that's where also certifications come into play to reassure the consumer. Things like B Corp, RSPO, etc., can all help reassure the consumer of what they're buying.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the certification right now for virgin material, it has to be the same for agri-waste, to make sure that, we can track and source if, all these agri-waste have been grown with pesticide or with other chemicals. This needs to be for sure checked, before it ends up into a package.
Yeah, actually, the first question from the audience is that today we see some of the innovative products in the market, but how can customers identify the packaging is safe and there's no residue releasing or left in the food?
So in our case, we try to educate our customers by putting the certification related to the materials on the packaging itself. So for example, for the baguette tray that we use for the frozen meals, we actually put the home compostable certified logos onto the paper sleeve to educate people that they're actually choosing an option that is much more eco-friendly. Similarly, in the case of our mooncake box, we also list the materials that we use for the mooncake box. For example, the outer packaging box, the tray, and every single materials that we put in assembling the box, so that the customers are well aware and well informed about the products that they're actually buying.
Yeah, and if I may add to that as well, I mean, there's examples, I think someone earlier may have mentioned it as well, that there are trials in the UK for this sort of letter grading system that's being used at the moment by a company called Foundation Earth. And this is already being used by the likes of Nestle, Marks and Spencer, Sainsbury's, and Costa and Tyson Food. And they're expecting a rollout this year. And essentially they're using like a grading system of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then a traffic light system of color. So if it's not very sustainable, it's red. If it's in between, it's amber and green for the most sustainable solution there. And then similarly from France, there's the EcoScore labeling system as well, which is considering beyond just the usual ideas, but also thinking about the production, the distribution of energy that's included in that, how much water is being used, the extraction of raw materials, etc. So there's some really good systems being developed to identify via labeling or QR codes.
Yeah, and final question from the audience. Do you see any opportunity in the evolution of retail, both online and offline, in terms of how we can make improvements for more sustainable packaging or packaging life cycle?
Well, retail is a very wide panel of products. So we've seen already, I mean, with the rise, for example, of e-commerce, we've seen now you don't need to really overpack or overprint or make, amazing finishes to your packaging like you would do on the shelf. And because most people buy online, so the packaging actually for e-commerce doesn't have to be super complex. It doesn't have to be oversized. It could be actually very minimized with not even a secondary packaging. The secondary packaging could be just the e-commerce box. We've seen also for e-commerce, for example, a lot of reusable options. So instead of using craft cartons, now it can come in reusable packs. We've seen that in Australia, in the US, even in Europe. So retail is really, in my opinion, evolving towards more online. And I think, that could save a lot of packaging waste.
Agreed. And I think, a lot of the packaging, I mean, I myself have received packages where I've just questioned the layer upon layer of packaging that's involved. And I think like you say, Cyril, like it just needs to be simplified. There's no need for all that unnecessary stuff. We're seeing businesses that are pivoting. Yes, there was that element of unboxing revolution with online when it first sort of emerged, but now it's less about showing off in that sense. So there's no need to be creating expensive, large amounts of packaging. And in fact, having eco credentials attached make it more exciting to share with people. So yeah, I agree. I think there's, it's definitely changing slowly, but yeah, the online market is definitely accelerating. So we need to be coming up with more solutions.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your insightful sharing during this panel. Now I will pass the time back to Maggie to give us some final remarks.
Thank you very much, thanks Angus, and also the second panel for the great discussion. And once again, thank you for the audience for your participation. Hope that you enjoyed the session and learn more about the sustainable packaging, especially what we can do as individuals and also supply chain players. If you're interested, please feel free to screen cap this slide and download the reports for your further reading. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us or drop us a message in the chat box. We'll try our best to answer all the questions and get back to you. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a good day. Bye.